Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Landy Lodge. We got a lot of exciting stuff to talk about today. There's a FF7 interview we're yet to cover on the channel. They actually just dropped a story so far for Final Fantasy VII Remake, so we're also going to watch that today. I've also got a few screenshots and other things I want to go over, but mostly the interview and that new story so far thing is really what we're going to dive in on today. I see we got a lot of people in here already. Shout out to the early birds. We got Eric the Dude, Vicky Crescent, Samurai Karai, Ryunsuke, Miyu, Hyrule Falcone, and Josh Z. And on top of the early birds, we have the sages. The beautiful names you see on your screen right here are the sages of the lodge. Those who are YouTube channel members, longtime Twitch subscribers, or donate directly. But as I always say, guys, as I always say and will continue to say, all I ask is that you come to hang out. All I ask is that you're here. And look, I have an announcement today. It is neither a good nor bad announcement, but things in the lodge will be changing, and I just want to give you sickos and normies a heads up. I'll probably make this announcement at the start of every podcast between now and the end of February, and I'll just come out with it. The lodge is moving, which is another way of saying my wife and I are moving. My wife and I have spent the last few years looking around for what neighborhoods we want to raise our family in, where we want to buy a home and stuff like that. And after years of research and exploring and considering a lot of different places, we believe we found the right place and we'll be moving there next month to get our lives started in that new place. So in about mid to late February, the lodge is going to go pretty much offline. You're going to have a good week or two of no podcasts, no live streams. I'll probably be able to slip in a few YouTube videos here and there, but late February is going to be mostly quiet pretty much until Rebirth comes out. But we'll be moving into a new studio. We'll be moving into a better home. It's a lot of things to be excited for. Just the counter news is that the lodge will be offline for like a week or two in mid to late February. But we're very excited. It's going to be good news for the lodge, good news for my IRL life. And yeah, overall 2024 is going to be an exciting year for the lodge. And, we have more announcements underway. I'm hoping to have a very big announcement by the end of the year, which is, again, so far ahead of us right now. But anyway, without further ado, I suppose it's time we get into the episode. Y'all came here for FF7. My life updates can wait. Wherever I am, the lodge will persist, so don't you guys worry about that. Let's see who we got here. Ryunsuke says, I can't wait to get paid so I can get a PS5 and pay for Rebirth. Yeah, and you know what? From what we've seen, it looks like it's for good reason a PS5 exclusive. I think there are some games like Ratchet and Clank and even FF16 that probably could have been bottlenecked into a PS4. But Rebirth looks like one of the first games it's like, oh, this has to be a PS5. Life update is fine. Yeah, I know it is. I know there's a lot of you out there that care, but there's not much to say. The lodge is moving. We're moving into a new studio. My wife and dog and I are moving into a new home. I just didn't want to, I thought about making a separate video for it. Alyssa OB over on Twitch, you can text me. I'll answer that for you. Because I know you have my number, but you can text me or text Charlotte. One of us will tell you. But yeah, it's very exciting stuff, but I didn't want to make a whole video for it. I think it's more appropriate just to kind of bring it up in the live streams, bring it up in the podcasts. But I don't want to spend too much time on it because we're here for the FF7. Okay. I am hyped for FF7 Rebirth. It's a month and 3 days away. 33 days, baby. It'll be here before we know it. Vicky Crescent, I'm glad you made it out. Eric the Dude, always good to see you. But anyway, let's get into this, all right? Let's get into this. This is an interview with the director. It's like 129 question rapid fire. I'm going in completely blind. Maybe some of you who are here in the chat or who are watching this after the fact, maybe you've seen this interview. I have not. So I'm going in pretty blind. But from what I'm told and from the handful of things I've already gotten spoiled on from this interview, it looks like we have quite a lot to chew on. Yeah, let's get into it. You guys let me know how the volumes are. I want to make sure you guys can hear it. I got it turned up pretty loud, but let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. I finished my second remake playthrough and decided to play OG for the first time to get myself excited. It's going to do just that, Miyu. It's going to do just that. All right, let's get into this. Let's see what kind of crazy stuff we have in store.
What's the best remake in gaming history?
Oh, okay, they do the captions? Okay, they do the captions.
メイク、FF7 リメイクです。
Why did you want to change certain story details with Final Fantasy VII Remake series?
原作を知っているユーザーにも楽しんでもらうため。
Okay, so they just dive right in. I don't know if this is like a preview of what's to come or if they just threw us right in. How are the volumes, by the way, guys? Was that good or do you need me to turn that up? Because I can turn it up. But already they're asking the big questions. I'm going to move because you guys need to be able to see these subtitles. So I'm going to turn the chat highlight off for now. When we take a break and we talk about it a little bit, I'll pull it back up. But I want you guys to be able to see these subtitles. Just in case you're someone who may be watching this for the first time. So there we go. Let's run it like that. I think that's a good way to do it. Volume is good. Okay. Okay. Let's keep this rolling. And let's again make sure you guys can see it. Blow it up as big as I can. Okay. Let's roll.
Do these changes make this a multiverse story?
それはお答えできないですね。
What's the best multiverse piece of media?
スパイダーマンは素晴らしいですね。
What was that thing?
Okay, so they just go right in. This isn't like a preview. Oh, they just go right in. Okay, we're going to go back to the top because there's a few things there I already wanted to stop and talk about. But I didn't know if this was like a preview. Let's just roll it.
Gaming history.
リメイク、FF7 リメイク。
I'm not going to lie. I would actually agree with that. Final Fantasy VII Remake, to me, is the best remake I've ever played. And it's a remake of the tutorial. And to me, that's actually what makes it so special.
Why did you want to change certain story details with Final Fantasy VII Remake series?
原作を知っているユーザー
To have users know that the original title to have fun with this as well. To have users that know the original title to have fun with this as well. So this kind of goes into what we've been talking about on the channel, guys, that like, it's very obvious to me the devs really value the element of surprise and the unreliable narrator trope, because those two things are so prevalent and so, how do you put it, necessary to the narrative of remake, that in order for, or of FF7 rather, that in order for them to remake this, they needed to reintroduce that element of surprise and that unrelatable narrator trope. Because if we know what all the surprises are, and if we know in what nature clouds an unreliable narrator, it kind of takes the spice out of the story. Just my opinion, and it just seems to be what the devs are thinking as well. Let's keep it going.
ユーザーにも楽しんでもらうためですね。
Do these changes make this a multiverse story?
それはお答えできないです。
Okay, so do these changes make this a multiverse story? I can't answer that. Actually, you know, I don't want to look too much into that. I know some people are acting like that's actually like a soft confirmation or something, but I don't necessarily vibe with that. I don't think that's a soft confirmation. I think it's anything but. I think the reason why he didn't answer it is because if he did answer it, it would spoil a lot of what's going on in FF7. You know what I mean? I tried playing the OG on mobile last year, but it didn't go out well. I stopped when we escaped Shinra. I can't play Final Fantasy. Just mobile games in general are tough for me. Even Ever Crisis, which is a good game, it's hard to play after a while, in my opinion. We can get into that maybe on another episode. But let's keep this going.
ですね。
What's the best multiverse piece of media?
スパイダーマンは素晴らしいですね。
Best multiverse piece of media, Spider-Man is one. We'll probably talk about the most recent Spider-Man movie. I have to be honest, and this is actually what scares me. I find most multiverse media completely underwhelming. It was underwhelming when Marvel did it. It was underwhelming when DC did it. Even before the movies, when they were doing it in their comics. I have always found multiverses underwhelming. Even Spider-Man No Way Home, which was fun. I enjoyed that movie. It was good, but like, it doesn't compare to other Spider-Man movies. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I'm almost a little discouraged by that. Because if they are doing a multiverse thing, and if Spider-Man No Way Home is their idea of like pinnacle multiverse media, then I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. My opinion, I think multiverses cheapen the brand more often than not. I'm not saying it can't be done well. I'm not saying it can't be done in a masterful way. I'm just saying, in my experience with the franchises I like, Multiverse, more often than not, has done nothing but cheapen the brand and kind of make the stakes a little lackluster. But anyway, let's keep it rolling. We don't know if it's a multiverse story. It might be a different kind of multiverse than we're used to. So let's just keep this going.
What was that thing in Remake that kept trying to keep the story elements the same called?
Whisper.
What were the things in the Final Fantasy VII Remake that kept trying to keep
What
the
up,
story the
Lance?
same? Whisper. What does it mean now that the whispers are gone?
それはリバースをお楽しみにしてください。
Okay, come on, interviewer. Come on, interviewer. The whispers aren't gone. The whispers aren't gone. Sephiroth absorbed the whispers, and the whispers are in the Rebirth trailer. Come on, brother. I know you're better than that. We all make mistakes. I mean, I make a production mistake every time I fucking do an episode. So, who am I to talk? Ryunsuke says multiverse in Marvel and DC has it up too much, then ruin the whole expense of having an opponent that can destroy the multiverse. That's what I mean, is like, it's just, I've never seen multiverses done in a way where I'm like, wow, that was like, anyway, keep it going. I don't want to get too hung up on that.
Does it at least mean that catching a chocobo is easier this time around?
人によるかもしれないですね、そこは。
Are all chocobos the same in Rebirth?
チョコボによって能力は異なります。
We
What
know
kinds of
this.
abilities can chocobos have?
はい、
Climbing.
空を飛べたり、
Swimming. Ooh.
山を登ったり、
Swimming.
海を登ったり、さまざまな能力があります。
Do all the chocobos smell the same?
私は似ていると思っていますね。
Do they smell pretty bad?
馬に近いと私は思っています。
How faithfully does the story of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth follow the original?
大きい意味では非常に
All right, let's talk about that. In a bigger picture, I do believe it follows it quite faithfully. Interesting. So, I mean, they've kind of given that up to us, kind of letting us know everything still leads into Advent Children. I mean, me personally, I don't know, guys. I see them changing something. Hang with me, guys. I'm just putting this in the back. Just putting this in the back, make it look a little better. But I think they ultimately will change something big. I mean, Zack alone, you got to remember the whole Zack thing didn't really happen in OG until the very end. So that already is different. But I think something else will be different too. Not just this. I don't think it just stops at Zack. But when he says in a bigger picture, I do believe it follows it quite faithfully. I think that paints a little credence into this idea that Rebirth will probably shake the whole timeline up. And then in the third game, we have to fix it, correct it, put it back the way it was. I don't know. But at the end of the day, it looks like we're still going to remain pretty faithful to the original. And even though something is bound to shake up, things won't shake up too much.
忠実になぞっていると思います。
How is Zack still around?
難しい質問ですね。どうやってきているんでしょうかね。
How does Zack being around affect Cloud?
そうですね。クラウ
So not just Cloud, but Zack's existence has an impact throughout the world of Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, you know, like, it's a good question to ask how it's going to impact Cloud, because I think it's going to break his brain in a lot of ways. Oh, God, not a link click? Oh, hell no, that means something bad is going to happen? A link click? A link click? Help me out. Anyway, it's going to affect everybody. It's going to affect the Turks. But then again, what world is he in? What kind of world is he in? But I think his overall point here is that there's something bigger than Zack going on, or that Zack's survival might be a consequence of the will of the planet, the will of Minerva, the will of Genova, who knows? But it seems like there's something much bigger going on behind Zack. It's kind of what I'm getting from the answer there.
ドというより、この FF7 の世界全体に対してザックスを通していろんな問いかけをしています。
Why isn't Crisis Core Reunion part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake canon?
That's a good question.
リメイク
Okay, because the remake itself is a unique world distinct from the other titles. So, I'm sorry, that either confirms there's a multiverse aspect to this, or that that either confirms a time loop, or that this is a multiverse in the sense that it's just a different universe. It's just a different sequence of events. Because that's an interesting answer. That's a very interesting answer. Because the remake itself is a unique world distinct from the other titles. So it's like, it's not connected to the original sequence of events, yet it seems to have a relationship with the original sequence of events. Like, how far does that go? Tiger Weirdo, what's up? I hope we see more Cisne. He sort of disappears after Crisis Core. I think we will. I think we'll definitely get some Cisne. Link Click is an anime where two people help to look into the past and solve things. Chang is able to go into the past with photos and could change it, but bad things happens. Ooh, okay, I see the butterfly effect sort of takes place. You know, that's all things are up in the air. You're right, Will. It's just hard to make sense of it. It's like, and that's the point, is that it's hard to make sense of it. Yes, Cisne we stand, Lands, no mistake. But like, the fact that it's a distinct world from the original, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. That's a little, just because the idea of the multiverse concerns me, I find this concerning. Just because, I don't know. I'm not saying it can't be done well. I have faith that they can do it well. I just don't want this to just be like as simple as, oh, it's just an alternate universe. Yeah, that universe is over here and our universe is over there. I would like it if this is distinct from the other titles, but as far as this trilogy is concerned, only this trilogy exists. You get what I'm saying? So it's like the original can always exist in its own way, but that while this is a distinct and unique world from the original, that it exists as its own thing. It doesn't exist alongside the other one. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's keep it going.
自体は他の今のコンピレーションしている作品とは違う独立した世界設定で描いているからですね。
Do you think people would still benefit from playing Crisis Core Reunion in order to learn more about Zack?
Of course.
You ever just listen to Final Fantasy music?
はい、もちろんあります。
Dude, same. All I'm gonna say is when I was in college, I listened to like one soundtrack a day. That gives them a lot of freedom. Yeah, the freedom thing I like. I'm all for the creative freedom. I just don't want this to exist in the same multiversal nature that we're used to here in the West, between like DC and Marvel Comics and everything like that. I don't want it to be like that. It can be its own independent universe, but I want it to stand independently, if that makes sense. I think I'm making sense. If anybody in the chat needs me to clarify, let me know. The interviewer worded the question really weirdly, because I remember they said Crisis Core Reunion was canon to FF7 and Remake, but now it also isn't because of the Chapter 18 of it. It's both. It's a paradox, right? That's kind of the thing.
学生の頃マイバイブルでした。バイブルって言わないのかななんて言うんだろう学生の頃サウンドトラックがよく使っていましたね。
What's the best Final Fantasy soundtrack?
FF7 のサウンドトラックをものすごくよく聞いてました。
How does the remake series being split across multiple games affect the overall experience?
やっぱり FF7 の非常に
I think the biggest merit is for us to be able to stay loyal and really depict the very expansive world of the FF7 title. Yeah, because that's the thing. It's like the original Final Fantasy VII, allow me to say, is a masterpiece. However, it's a severely compromised game. The original Final Fantasy VII is so severely compromised because they had to make it in like a year or two. Their original plan was for Yuffie to be not optional, Vincent to not be optional. These are supposed to be fully fledged out characters that were mandatory, but they only became optional and half-baked because of deadlines. Deadlines were the reason the original FF7, what we got, beautiful as an experience as it is only a shell of the developer's vision. And that's why this project exists in the first place. They could have made money doing a million other things. Okay, it's not like Remake. Remake sold well, make no mistake. Remake sold well, but Kingdom Hearts 3 sold better. Them deciding to do remake, it really wasn't about the money, right? Nomura and Creative Business Unit 1 could have made a new Final Fantasy VII title, period, and sold the same amount as remake. Like if Creative Business Unit 1 made Final Fantasy 17, it would probably, new characters, new story, it would probably sell just as well as remake. To me, this was never about like, oh, hey, Square Enix needs money, break the emergency glass and let's make FF7. I think that emergency glass for FF7 was always there, but I don't think they did it about money. I think they broke that emergency glass because like, hey, we're not getting any younger and we want to flesh this out the way we envisioned. Land says 7R sold more, I think. No. Last time I checked, Kingdom Hearts 3 sold more than Final Fantasy VII Remake. And they both sold very well, mind you. So it's not a shot at either title.
大きいこうストーリー世界観っていうのをちゃんと忠実に表現できるというところが一番のメリットだと思います。
What is the best direct sequel in Final Fantasy history?
私が関わっ
Lightning Returns. I have no comment. I've not played it. Only seen some cutscenes. But if I were to answer that question, I would have went. You can't use any of the 14 expansions. Because Heaven Sword is technically everything Heaven Sword and After is kind of a sequel. I would go with 10 too, personally. But then again, I've not played Lightning Returns. Keep it rolling.
ライトニングリターンズファイナルファンタジー13は
See, Eric the Dude, this is it right here. There was an interviewer where Nomura and Kitase said they wanted to do 7 Remake when they did because they were getting older and they know if they didn't, someone else would. That's it right there. The emergency was not a monetary thing. It was like, hey, we're like these guys, Nomura, Kitase, Nojima, these guys are like in their 50s. You know, they could each heart attack. Boom, gone. I hope they're with us for 20, 30, 40 more years. Don't get me wrong. But they're at the age where it's like things freaking happen. So their attitude is like, yo, we got to do this now. We have to do this now. Keep it rolling.
とてもいい作品だと思っています。
Did Final Fantasy VII Rebirth really need to be on multiple discs, or did you just do that for nostalgia?
両方ですね。
Good
Were
answer.
there any other games in the Final Fantasy series that the team considered to remake before settling on 7?
北瀬は検討していたと思います。
I wonder what those were. FF6 has to be one. FF8 has to be one. Maybe even, honestly, you know what would be great? They really should consider remaking Final Fantasy 1. I got to copy them if you need them, Landy. I have a copy, and I plan on playing it soon. Might do it live.
Do you think we'll ever get Final Fantasy X-3?
Oh, please, 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 Square Enix. Please, Square Enix. Please. Please make Final Fantasy X-3. Please. Please. Oh, I'd be so happy. Yeah, Riku, there were Strangers of Paradise. That could be an FF1 remake. But I mean like true FF1 remake. Live streaming, you have to, Lenny. Please stream 13. I think I would. I think I will. 10-3 would be crazy. I want it so bad.
私もプレイしてみたいですね。
Can you do your best Tidus laugh?
やっぱりティダどう笑ったっけ？ティダどう笑う？
I can bring it up if we want to.
こんな笑ってたっけ？あははは。
What's the silliest moment in Final Fantasy history?
ファイナルファンタジー6のケフカはすごく私の中で好きなキャラクターですね。面白おかしいキャラクターとして。
What's your favorite moment from the original Final Fantasy VII?
一番こう記憶に残ってるのはやっぱりこうエアリスのワスラルル都のシーンですね。
What was your favorite moment in Final Fantasy VII Remake?
コルネオの闘技場で
Hell House? Yo, let me tell you. Hell House was like the first... Yeah, that comment about Kefka being silly. It's funny because, yeah, in the first half of the game, he's pretty silly, but in the second half of the game, he's pretty terrifying. The thing about the freaking Hell House, man, is, how would I put it? It was like the first boss battle that pushed me to the limit. Like, I was really enjoying the game already. I was really enjoying the game already, but like the Hell House was the first boss to beat me. I think that was the thing. Is the Hell House was actually the first one to beat me. But how do I put this? First one to beat me, but it's what made me actually learn the game. Because I'd gotten away with some pretty basic combat strategies, but the Hell House is what like showed me how in depth it could be. I think you are not alone in that case. Yeah, it was a slice of humble pie for a lot of people. Like a big old slice of humble pie. Okay, by the way, I have fact-checked myself. 7 Remake has outsold Kingdom Hearts 3. I guess I don't remember them getting close to 9 million units. Remake getting close to 9 million units is huge. I thought they were still caught up at 5. So I fact-checked myself there. Remake has sold close to 9 million units. Kingdom Hearts 3 has sold close to 7 million units. Wow. That's really good for Remake. I know Square Enix was probably expecting bigger numbers. They probably wanted it to pass 15, which is at like 10 million units. But 9 million units, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. But next time I'm wrong, Lance, you knew I was wrong. You knew I was wrong. Be more abrasive. Say, fuck you, Landy, you're wrong. Don't spout false information on your podcast. You're better than that. That's all I ask. That's what the chat's good for, man. That's what the chat. The Hell House was my slice of humble pie in Remake. Chat is my slice of humble pie on these platforms. But again, keep me honest, guys. So, Lance, thank you for calling that out. Okay, keep it going.
ヘルハウスがこうボスとして出てきたところは一番好きです。
How does Red 13 ride a chocobo?
肉球でがっちりとロープを掴んでます。
Will we see Red 13 trying to stand on 2 legs again?
多分皆さんの期待にお応えできると思いますね。
Does anyone in the party comment how weird it is that he tries to ride chocobos and stand on 2 legs?
パーティーいや自然と馴染んで。
It's really natural for him. That's how things work, baby. That's really good. Cage 3, although it's my fave, I don't know about those sales. But it's the best-selling one in the series, isn't it? Let me see. Let me check it. Cage 3's at 7 million units. Where's Kingdom Hearts 2? 4 million units. Where's Kingdom Hearts 1? So Kingdom Hearts 2 sold 4 million units, which I thought it did better than that. Kingdom Hearts 1 sold 6 million units. 3 sold 7. Wow. I forget that 1 outsold 2 by 2 million units. Wow. Wow. Red Cert 13 in the sailor outfit is going to be the best? Yeah, I think Barrett in the sailor outfit is going to be the best. That's my vote.
What happens if Red 13's tail gets extinguished?
He dies like a Charmander.
命尽きるんですかね、あれは。
Who on the Super Smash Bros. Roster did Cloud get along with the best?
Mario.
Who do you think annoyed him?
Dude, I'm sorry, Hamaguchi. I'm sorry, Hamaguchi. You completely fumbled that question. Who did Cloud get along best with in Smash? Sora. Come on, you fumbled that. You fumbled that. Your Creative Business Unit 1. Those are your boys. Those are your boys. I'm just playing.
The most.
ドンキーコング
How many times did he tell Mario that he
Um,
was in Soldier?
7回
Did Sephiroth get along with anybody on Smash Brothers?
セフィロスはもちろんクラウドと仲がいいと思っていました
yeah, of course. Yeah, Sephiroth's on good terms with Cloud. Cloud's just not on good terms with Sephiroth.
What's the wilder crossover? Super Smash Brothers or Kingdom Hearts?
Kingdom Hearts.
もちろんキングダムハーツです私ディズニー大好きです
What's the best summon in Final Fantasy history?
私ファ
Good
イナ
answer. Good answer on the Bahamut.
バハムートゼロゼロだっけゼロでいいんだっけゼロでいいんだっけあれって回って言うんだっけなんか子供心に感じに憧れてたのをすごく記憶に残っています
What's the best Sid in Final Fantasy history?
私FF12 の
Okay.
アルシドはちょっ
Not
と
what I would've
シドを
picked.
少しもじりつつすごく
If I had to pick a favorite Sid, FF16 Sid, 100%.
独特なキャラクターで好きでし
Have you ever bought flowers from someone on the street?
たないです
Actually,
ね
yes.
Do you guys have any black materia around here?
あります
If you could have any materia to use in your daily life,
Square Enix using black magic on their games confirmed.
what would you choose?
見破るマテリア
Why?
やっぱり私いろんな人と関わるんでいろん
Yo, this guy's such a sicko. Okay, so he got asked if you could have any materia in the world, what materia would you want? This guy says assess materia. Us normies and noobs, we'd be like, give me the lightning materia. Yeah, give me the summon materia. We'd ask for all the materia that would get us arrested. My boy right here is like, give me that assess materia so nobody knows what I know. It would be cure materia for me. Good answer. That's a good answer. But I wonder, can cure materia work if you're sick, or is it just like if you fucking like break your arm or something?
いろんな人
That's a good
の
answer. The assess
いい点
materia?
いろんな
Huge.
いろんな情報を知れるのは魅力的ですインタビューもきっとうまく答えれます
So you trying to find out my HP?
まあ yes その通りです
Should I be worried?
いやいやものすごい HP が高くてこれはなかなか手強いなって思ってます
If you could speak to the planet, what would you say?
日本は地震が多いんで地震をやめてほしいですね
What is
I absolutely love how straightforward he's answering all these questions. Like he has no desire to come off as like a deep person. He's just being very authentic. Like I dig it. I dig his vibe, I guess is all I'm trying to say.
your promised land?
私やっぱりこうゲームクリエイター
I'm a game creator, so I want to have a future where it's easy to do so, and that's my goal. That's the promised land I am aiming for. Dude, now that might be one of the most beautiful answers he's given us this whole interview. His idea of the promised land is where game development is so easy and accessible that everyone could do it. Or that not everyone could do it, but then more people could do it. Because, I'm going to have a podcast next week with a very familiar guest about a topic like this. But here's the thing, guys, is like these gaming companies can't keep the road they're on much longer. Like, I think the reason why he's saying this is because you've seen these video game credits. It takes hundreds, sometimes like thousands, like it takes so many people to put a video game together. Between all the you need a specialized animator for like when characters are breathing. You need specialized animators for combat. You need again, like there's all these sort of like pockets of development, animation, production that need to be fulfilled by all these different people that it's very difficult for a small studio or even an independent creator to create a video game, especially one at the scale of Rebirth. Now, a lot of these companies are able to pull this off right now for reasons we'll get into another day, but it can't last forever. And I think the reason why he's answering like this is because there are efforts to lower the bar of entry for game developers so that games don't take you have these like Hollywood movie budgets to make a video game now. Like you got these studios that like are spending $50 to $100 million to develop these video games, and it's like that's not sustainable, and for too much longer it won't be profitable. So I think this is actually a very cool answer he's giving. That like his idea of the promised land is when like, you know what, games can be as beautiful and amazing as they are now, but they don't require as much effort and bureaucracy and funding and investors and like, again, there's so much that goes on beyond the scenes. Square Enix has an ethics department and everything they do gets funneled through an ethics department. It's wild. And again, like you see how Rebirth is a game that's like 180 gigs big or something. It's like, that can't last forever. That can't last forever.
で、やっぱりこう皆さんの記憶に残るような作品を作れる未来にを目指したいというか、そこが目指す地ですかね。
What's your favorite part of Tokyo?
品川私好きです。
What's your favorite place to travel to?
日本だと北海道とかこう海鮮物が美味しいので私好きですね。
What other Final Fantasy game was the biggest inspiration for the remake series?
やっぱ直近その自分がやってたファイナル
Absolutely. If you can't see how like FF7 and FF13 are very, very similar. Very similar. Just in their presentation, I've always felt 13 and 7 are similar. That's a good answer.
ファイナルファンタジー13とかはやっぱり自分も関わってたから何かしらインスピレーションしたものはあるのかなとは思いますね。
How much product does Cloud use in his hair?
3分の1ぐらいは使わないと硬さにはならないですよね。
You got to use maybe 1/3 of the tube to get the hair that. Oh, baby. I think Sephiroth needs like 3 bottles. Games are now multiple times as expensive as Hollywood movies these days and usually don't earn back their investments. It's unsustainable long term. I think that's why we see company buyouts a lot. Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't have said it better myself. Okay. All the more reason it's amazing Kingdom Hearts exists at all. Exactly. The amount of yellow tape hidden behind the scenes. Eric the Dude says, leave AI to party members and enemy design. No one wants AI-generated content or voice acting in games. People want art created by a human, not AI auto-generated garbage. I, for the most part, agree with you. I would extend AI into other avenues, like, for instance, in Rebirth Remake, something Square Enix is working with lately, is the lip syncing is AI-generated. There are little things like that where, like, I'm with you, Eric the Dude. At the end of the day, it comes down to people's personal values. When it comes to, like, art and an art style, I'm always going to prefer Nomura to an AI. I'm always going to prefer that. However, if Nomura wanted to plug his art into an AI, like into his own AI data set, and then use that to brainstorm, I think that could be cool. I don't see a problem with that. If an artist like Nomura or any artist out there plugged their art into an AI to use it as a brainstorming tool, I think that's a cool idea. But like you said, Eric, I would still want the art itself and the voice acting and the characters and the plot. I want all of that to come from a human being. I want like the things that are like writing, the parts of the video game that connect with our humanity, be it the art, the story, the voice acting. That I do think should always stay human to human. But I think that AI can be a very useful tool in some of the more mundane tasks that go with video game development or production in general. But I am with you where it's like AI will never and is no substitute for the humanity and human touch a human being can bring to an art style, to a voice acting performance, to a story that they've written. Couldn't agree more. But all right, it would help a lot for game devs. It would. It would. There's a reason they're embracing it. Yeah, Eric, like you're saying, AI upscaling can be very useful. More stuff like that. More stuff like that. Will, I like Will's word take here. I think he's on point. AI is useful to brainstorm, but the human mind is where true inspiration comes from. 100%. Nakfugel says AI wouldn't handle Nomura's prompts. Never. Nomura would break an AI. Nomura would break an AI. Yeah, I'm with you there, Ryu. A lot of love for Aerith. A lot of love for Aerith. Okay, let's keep this going. Again, I've got a podcast next week that's going to talk about physical media versus digital media. We'll be able to have these more existential gaming industry conversations then. Let's let's rein it back in and get into FF7.
Which Final Fantasy character has the best hair?
まあやっぱ男らしくバレットの髪型は
Barrett？
すっきりしてて好きです。
Was Lightning in Final Fantasy XIII inspired by Cloud?
I wouldn't have picked Barrett. Best hair? I'm going Zach.
From Final Fantasy VII?
どうなんだろう。でもおそらくそこはキャラクターなので野村さんがデザインしてるんですけど、多分そこに対してのつながりはないと思う。
Does Cloud realize that his last name is kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy?
クラウド自体は気づいてないはずですね。開発側の
Yeah, that's what's cool. I like it when Square Enix does that, when the character's name foreshadows their character arc. Obviously, you have Cloud Strife. Cloud, his head is kind of like cloudy. His memories are cloudy. Like, Cloud really describes what's going on in his head. Strife sort of exemplifies how bad that can go.
メッセージはもちろんありますけど。
Alright, let's be honest. Who is the coolest Final Fantasy protagonist?
セッツァーです。
Setzer?
What's the deal with Final Fantasy characters always losing their
I would've picked
memories?
Auron.
まあドラマチック、ドラマ性だからですかね。
Which character is the most different between Final Fantasy VII Original and Final Fantasy VII Remake series?
もう一番やっぱザックスじゃないですか。
Zach. I feel like he's answering that question not on the basis of personality. Because Zach's personality doesn't seem very different at all. I think he's answering it like what character's playing out differently. Because I don't think he's answering that question on the basis of, how would you put it? Personality.
If all the Final Fantasy villains
Relevance,
fought each
yeah.
other, who would come out on top?
ここは私が今
If all
リ
the
メイクをや
Final
ってるの
Fantasy
で
villains fought,
セフィロスでやってほしいですね。
let's
Do we get to
that
play as Sephiroth in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth?
そうですね。プレイヤブルで操作できます。
Have you heard stories about Final Fantasy VII originally being developed for Nintendo 64?
どうなんだろう。私は分からないです。
Okay, well, even that aside, how many cartridges do you think it would take to fit Final Fantasy VII's original game on the N64?
Sephiroth's a good pick, guys. Sephiroth's a good pick, but yeah, I think I would still go Sephiroth. I still think I would.
64.
まあ64個じゃないですか。
Do you think mainline Final Fantasy games will ever return to Nintendo consoles?
No.
分からないですけど、
They won't. At least not at release. They'll always be behind. Ultima hits hard. The main villains from Lightning Returns are Type 0. Could be. Could be. Eric the Dude says people don't want AI to be used at the detriment of a game's quality or affect the art. Yeah, people still, they just want the human touch. I don't think anyone has a problem with technological advancements. They just want the human touch. I want to see Kuja and Sephiroth fight. That'd be a good fight. I'm still picking Sephiroth. When Nintendo solid state cartridges, that would be cool. I'll tell you though, cartridges are better than discs. People get on Nintendo about game preservation. Them switching back to cartridges does more for game preservation than either Sony or Microsoft has done in the last 10 years.
それもまた魅力的な話ですね。
Does Barrett have a difficult time getting through security at the airport?
いや、クラウドも含めて通れないですね、2人とも。
Coming into the remake series, what was the biggest change the team wanted to make?
なんか一番はゲームをアクションにしたいっていうところですね。
Is Rebirth more open than Remake?
はい、間違いないです。
Yeah.
Is Rebirth's map bigger than Remake's?
Of course.
はい、もうリメイクのワールドマップはもうこんなぐらいになってると思います。
Are the side
I'll
quests
say this. One thing I really would love. I would love this. Guys, I would actually, I'm telling you right now, you'll see it live on stream. I will actually lose my mind if the Midgar map stays the same. If in Rebirth, I can walk into Midgar and the layout of Midgar is the same as Remake, I legit will go nuts. If they embed the entire Remake map into Rebirth, oh my God. I know it seems like such a little thing, but there's something about that to me that would be so amazing. Let's keep it going.
better in Rebirth?
そうですね。非常にこうどのリメイクからもそうです
What was the
し、
question?
そうです。こんなぐらいになってると思います。
Are the side quests better in Rebirth?
Side quests.
そうですね。非常にこ
The side quests have to be better. Remake was so hit or miss. They had some good side quests, but a lot of them were very mundane. So they have to do better. RPGs in general, RPGs as a genre have to do better. Keep it going.
うどのリメイクからもそうですし、他のどのタイトルに比べても非常によく作り込まれていると思っています。
Why such a focus on side content this time around?
まあやっぱりワールドマップの体験を原作同様にさせたかったっていうのがあります。
Listen, side content's important, but like, I think they got to take the approach that I think FF16 took, where it's like, yeah, put a lot of story relevant stuff behind the side quests. Do it. Do it. Let's switch up the vibe. The sun's come down. We're switching up the vibe. But do it. Like, put story relevant scenes behind side quests. I thought it was one of the best parts of 10.2. 10.2 incentivized me to explore that whole map because so many cool cutscenes were hidden behind side quests. Again, look, to me, there's not much you can do with side quest gameplay. At the end of the day, your choices are minigame, fetch, combat, puzzle. You don't have many more options outside of that. But one way you can make them more rewarding is with story content, cutscenes, and rewards. Let's keep it going.
What does Biggs and Wedge still being alive mean for the story?
そうですね。まあ今作は
Okay. That was kind of cool. He slipped that in. He basically just confirmed Wedge is alive. We've all pretty much had the suspicion that Wedge is alive and been operating on that assumption. But by him not negating it, he kind of confirmed that Wedge is alive. You guys catch my drift? And then he's saying there are many layers to the story in this game. Obviously a reference to the different worlds.
やっぱりいろんなレイヤーがこう絡み合うこう展開になっているので、まあ、そういった意味でもこうその点はこう楽しんでもらいたいところではあります。
Did Jesse make it out of Final Fantasy VII Remake alive?
私もそう願ってますけどどうでしょう。
Oh, stop that! Stop that! Stop that! I hope she did, but we shall see. She did. That to me means she did. Look at his face. Look at this freaking guy's face, guys. She's alive. I think so. I don't want to say for certain, but I don't know. I don't know. All the alarms in my head are firing off with this response he has. I hope she did, but we shall see with that face. And then, dude, if Jesse's alive, then that world of the living, world of the dead theory we've discussed on this channel could be all the more true. Let's keep it going.
Would you ever go to a restaurant called Sector 7?
Yes.
Just be careful ordering anything that comes on a plate.
気をつけます。
But I assume you would go to a bar called Seventh Heaven.
もちろんコスモキャニオンを頼みます。
Have you ever seen the show Seventh Heaven?
わからないですね。
Have you ever considered putting a secret pinball elevator in the office?
いや面白いですね。ボタンを押したら出てくる。面白い。
Do you have a favorite arcade machine?
私 UFO キャッチャー大好きです。
What's cooler, riding a motorcycle or snowboarding?
スノーボードですかね。
Does Final Fantasy VII Rebirth have snowboarding?
リバースではスノーボードはないです。
Ooh. Honestly, though, I like the snowboarding minigame, but I won't be upset if it's gone. Just because, like, not for nothing, guys, but, like, Aerith, in the original, Aerith dies, and then you're snowboarding, like, right after. It's not that, from what I remember, it's not that long after. I might be getting the events mixed up. I feel like Cloud. But, I don't know. If they saved the snowboarding for the third game, I don't know. If they make the snowboarding minigame in part 3, like how they did at the snowboard in PS2, I'm all for it. Yeah. Snowboard was not in disc 1, so it will be in part 3. Kind of my suspicion. I feel like if the game went to that scene and didn't end there and right away just threw you into the snowboarding before the end, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the pacing of the trilogy. I can't imagine they would include the snowboarding in this game.
Is Gold Saucer in Rebirth?
もちろん
Of course, we know that.
Can you play the mini games?
もちろんたくさん
We
用
know
意
that. Come on.
されてます。
What's the best mini game in Rebirth?
本当にたくさんミニゲームあるんでどれもしっかり作ってるん
Card
ですけ
game,
ど、
that's new.
まあ、カードゲームは個人的にやっぱり好きなゲームの一つですかね。
Which mini game from the original Final Fantasy VII received the biggest change for Rebirth?
まあ、チョコボレースはやっぱり今風のレーシングゲームにしっかりと作り
Dude, here's something else I'm hoping for, guys. I really hope things like Chocobo Racing can be played online. Like, I hope the Gold Saucer has online functionality. To me, that's how you take this game to the next level. There's a lot of ways you take this game to the next level, but in terms of replay value and keeping people logged into your game, if the Gold Saucer or some of these mini games like Chocobo Racing, if we all like race each other, that would be sick.
繰り返っているので、そこは原作からだいぶ変わっていると思いますね。
Is the CPR mini game still in Rebirth?
あそこはこうちょっと表現を
Changed
変え
it
て
slightly, so please stay tuned. I know a lot of people have been running with the CPR thing and saying that's a spoiler. This is actually one of the things I've seen pop up. A lot of people have been running that the whole CPR thing is a spoiler because of the scene that you do CPR in, but there's no guarantee that's the same scene you do it in. They could keep the CPR minigame, but it could be Roche. Could be Roche on the side of the road. I don't know. I think it's a soft confirmation, if anything. I don't think it's concrete.
いるので、ちょっと楽しみにしてください。
Does your save data from Remake transfer into Rebirth?
直接的には引き継がないですけ
Probably get
ど、実は一部で引き継ぐところもあったりします。
Just how safe can Sephiroth get?
セフィロスはこうなんだかんだ言ってクラウドのこと大好きなんで、結果として常に安全なのかもしれないです、ね。
Sephiroth's a sicko.
I think a certain party member might disagree.
パーティーメンバー
Aerith.
ああ、そういうことか。yes.
Which mainline Final Fantasy game has the best combat system?
はい、やっぱり「ファイナルファンタジー7」リメイクのバトルシステムは非常に自信を持って
Yeah,
送
no,
れるもの
honestly,
になっていると思います。
Do you have a
honestly,
favorite fake rumor?
let me pause it. They should be very proud of the remake combat. I think it'll change. I think we'll look back at the remake combat 5-10 years from now and be like, yeah, that's where things changed. I think they changed Priscilla being the one that gives CPR to Yuffie, since Yuffie is the one in danger in this scenario. Yeah, exactly.
About the original Final Fantasy VII?
エアリスがなんか生き返るみたいなのはまさによく聞いていましたね。
Yeah, I remember. I'm old enough to remember when people used to say that there was like a secret ending where you could get Aerith back, that nobody had beaten the real ending of FF7, and the real ending you have to unlock is when Aerith comes back, and it was all bullshit.
If you could change your name to any Final Fantasy characters, what would you choose?
7期
Were you aware
Not
that
good
Genova Chen
choice.
from that game company changed his name to Genova because of Final Fantasy VII?
知らない。そうなんだ。
Would you ever remake Advent Children?
見てみたいですね、確かに。
Oh, they will. They will. I don't know if Advent Children will be DLC or if it'll be like one last milking of the cow to get a game out. But I could see Advent Children DLC. I could definitely see Advent Children DLC. I heard the new Yakuza game is using similar combat system to remakes. That's what I'm saying. We're going to come back 5-10 years from now. We're going to look at remake and be like, that was it. That was it. The way we look at Kingdom Hearts 2 now. The way we look at Kingdom Hearts 2 now. We're going to look at remake in like 10 years.
Were you aware that the Marvel's director Nia DaCosta used Final Fantasy
Okay, how much did they pay you? How much did they pay you to waste one of your 129 questions to say, did you know that the person who directed that movie that's the biggest flop in Marvel history was inspired by your work? Doesn't that seem a little tone deaf? Like, if the movie was a success, that's one thing. But this was the biggest flop in MCU history. How much did Marvel pay you to ask this question? How much?
7 Advent Children as her pitch for the movie?
はい、ニュースになってるの見ました。
Name an emotion.
熱量、
Name a random object.
マウス、
Give me a descriptive word.
美しい、
Name a Square Enix franchise.
クロノトリガー。
What's the strangest game title Square Enix has ever come up with?
Just have to make sure we all agree it was bad. Sad part is I love the movie. Look, I never saw the movie. I am not saying it based on quality. I'm not judging that movie based on quality. I haven't seen it. I'm just saying commercially it was a major flop. So I don't know what it's like. It's not like he just said to him like, Oppenheimer and Barbie were like two of the biggest movies from last year, right? It's not like he was like, hey, Barbie and Oppenheimer, the director said that they used Advent Children as a pitch for the movie. Right? Like that'd be like, yeah, that's great. But it's like, hey, you know that movie that flopped? It was inspired by FF7. Like, I don't know. I haven't seen the movie, by the way. Yeah, I'm not judging the movie's quality. I'm not making a statement on that. Never watched, stopped after Infinity War. I did too. I gave up on Marvel after Infinity War. The MCU, I should say. Mostly because I was burnt out. I wasn't like, okay, I'm done forever. It was like, hey, I'm burnt out. I watched like 25 movies in like 3-4 years. Like, not that those movies all came out in like 3 or 4 years, but I remember rewatching them all leading up to Infinity War. But after Endgame, I pretty much tapped out. And I wanted to maybe come back to it, but I just don't really have any desire to. All right, let's keep it going.
With.
レーシングラグ
Can you think of a game name that was rejected?
ーン。それは言えないです。
What if we just made up our own title?
何に対して？
Yeah, we already did it actually. How does Chrono Trigger Beautiful Passionate
そういうこと
Mouse?
か。そうですね。集英社さんから怒られそうですね。
What is the third game in the remake series called?
それは野村さんの頭の中に。
Oh, so Nomura knows it already. Nomura already knows the third game. Eric the Dude says the director did speak very highly of Advent Children, say what you will about the movie, but she's a competent director. It was Marvel and Disney that fumble it, I feel. Again, having not seen the movie, Eric, you're probably right. You're probably right. Directors don't have nearly as much power or influence as they used to, especially under a giant umbrella like that. I'm willing to bet she's probably a fantastic director. But it's tough, man. Directors, like, these days, a director get, like, how do you, like Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi got hired by Marvel, but Sam Raimi didn't get to put any of his energy into the movie. He was just kind of a seat, a chair to fill. Chrono Trigger, beautifully passionate mouse, unironically goes hard. I'd buy that game tomorrow. FF7 Requiem or Redemption? I like Requiem. I like FF7 Requiem. I will say. I like Requiem. I like maybe Rebuild or Revive. Revive, maybe. But I like Requiem. It's a very Nomura word to use. We've just been rated on Twitch by Kitties and Middies with a party of 11. Kitties, what is going on? How is your stream? How's the strikers going? Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you follow Kitties and Middies. She's appeared on many FF7 podcasts we've done on this channel. Kitties, I hope things are going well. Guys, whether you're on Twitch or YouTube, make sure you give Kitties a follow. She also streams on YouTube. Check out her channel. FF7 Return. Yeah, Return could be good too. But I think it's really cool that Nomura already knows the name of the third game.
にしかないですね。
But if I guess it, you'll tell me, right?
それはお答えできないです。
Reimagine?
いまいちか。
No,
Reframed?
no.
それもなんか
Bad.
しっくりこないですね。
Reloaded?
なんか聞いたことあるような。
No.
Returns?
まだしっくりこないです、ね。
No.
Cloud Returns?
あ、それでいいかもしれないですね。
Aerith Returns?
なんかすごいメッセージ性が込められてますね。
Lightning Returns?
そうしましょ
So not Record Keeper.
う。この時はダメですね。
Revengeance?
リベンジャーズ。
Seems like we'll get a scolding from ethics. For Revengeance? Come on, that's soft. That's soft. That's soft. I'm so excited to see Advent Children in theaters next month. Me too. My wife and I are making a whole date of it. We're going to go to dinner before. I'm so excited because in theaters, it's going to be so good. I love this. This guy is so charming, kiddies. I love this guy. I love this guy. But man, Revengeance scolding from Ethics? No way Ethics would be that sensitive. I'm sure like most ethics departments, I'm sure they're pretty sensitive, but they'd let you get away with revengeance. Oops. Run it back.
なんかどんどんなんか倫理から怒られそうな感じなの。
What's the deal with guns in Final Fantasy? Sometimes they kill someone, other times they just take down a little bit of HP.
あれ私も知りたいんですよね。
What was the biggest point of debate within the team when making Final Fantasy VII Remake?
やっぱりこうどこま
Suppose we really debated about how in depth we'd go into depict and illustrate these certain moments. Yeah, I'm sure they have to pick and choose which ones they're gonna really highlight along the way. I'm so pumped to see it in theaters, but yes, he's dripping with charm. He just seems very genuine. You know what I mean? He seems like a very genuine guy.
でこだわってこう表現を上げるかっていうところはやっぱ議論になりましたね。
Was there an idea for remake that was scrapped because it strayed too far from the original?
Oh, absolutely.
その
And contrary to popular belief, Nomura is the one shooting those ideas down. At least according to their interviews.
手はよくありますね。
How do you pronounce this character's name?
ケットシー。
What was up with their cameo in
Whoa, 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 whoa.
How do you pronounce this character's name?
ケットシー。
Geitoshi. I swear I hear a different pronunciation every time I look into it. Geitoshi. Tony says he's banking on FF7 Reclaim to reclaim Aerith and Zack, you know, because they need it.
What was up with their cameo in Remake?
あれはこうファンサービスの意味もすごく強いと思います。
What's the best RPG series outside of Final Fantasy?
私はウィッチャーシリーズが好きです。
Why did
You
Final
see, and this is why I like him, because, all right, keep in mind, this is an employee of Square Enix, and he got asked, what's your favorite RPG outside of Final Fantasy? The company man would have said Dragon Quest, Kingdom Hearts, Nier, any of that. He gave an honest answer and said The Witcher. I really like that.
Fantasy VI resonate with you so much?
やっぱりこう中学生とかだったんで、自分でゲーム体験実際に体験できるファンタジーみたいなものってやっぱりその当時なかったので非常に衝撃的でしたね。
Is that one still your favorite?
やっぱり心に残ってる作品ですね。
Do you think that most people's favorite Final Fantasy game is the one that got them into the series in the first place?
かもしれな
I
い
know
で
that's
す
how
ね。
Persona works.
なんかその割合は高い気はしますね。
What is the biggest improvement from Remake to Rebirth?
やっぱりこうユーザーのが
Freedom.
自ら
And this
こ
is
う
what I
選
like.
択でき
I like it because it's very meta. It's very meta. You know, the first game was, this is where the train symbolism comes in, right? Like, it's not an accident. You see a lot of trains in the FF7 story. The first game was all about being stuck on the train tracks, right? Like Fate, you're stuck on the train tracks. Like Fate, the Whispers, like Midgar, very linear, very contained. You're on a track. And then what do? We kill the Whispers, we get freedom, and now the map opens up. I'm telling you, nobody does meta better than Square Enix. Nobody.
るゲーム体験っていうところが非常に変わっていると思います。
How do you think people are going to react to that scene? You know the one. How much of Rebirth was developed?
If that's how we end, I'm in. I'm in. Boundless, terrifying freedom. Exactly! Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Like, they couldn't have made me happier.
In parallel with Remake?
開発自体は同時じゃなくこうすぐスワップしてるんですけど、シナリオは野島さんの方に並行しても書いてもらっていました。
Did you ever just consider calling it Remake 2, or is that just too simple?
そこはなかったですね。
Can't do that.
What do you think the series would have been called if it wasn't Hironobu Sakaguchi's final attempt?
マコ
Will there ever truly be a
Really? Really? So to give some layers to that question, Hironobu Sakaguchi is the guy who created Final Fantasy. And Final Fantasy 1 was created because to him, it was his last attempt. It was his last attempt to make something of this stature, to bring this fantasy setting into video games. because it's a setting that he had a personal affinity for. And again, Final Fantasy got its name because it was like his final chance. I think that's very cool. Let's go back. See him answer that again.
It was Sakaguchi's final attempt.
So he thought Mako.
Will there ever truly be a Final Fantasy?
One day there will be. Here's the problem, guys. One day there will be a Final Fantasy. And the sad part is while we're playing it, we won't know that's what it is.
それは分からないけど、もうこの質問がファイナルでいいんじゃないでしょうかね。
Perfect. Thank you so much.
There it is. That was great. That was a cool interview. I did like that. I did enjoy that. There's some spoilery stuff in there a little bit if you know where to look for it. It needs to be called the Final Fantasy if it's the last one. But that's the thing, Xander, is they're never going to be planning for it to be the last one. It'll be the last one because it flops, bombs, and bankrupts the company. Because if it doesn't do that, they're just going to keep going. But let's see. All right, guys, we're going to move on. I had a few other things I wanted to watch. They dropped that story so far video. Let's check that out. The story so far. A brief recap of the story so far. Because they did the first one 2 months ago, but they dropped another one. I don't know if it's any different, but we're gonna give it a shot. We're gonna watch this thing. Again, I don't know if it's any different than the previous one. How many last concerts did Owsley have? Exactly. I wonder who will take the creative helm when Nomura, Katase, and the old heads retire. Hamaguchi seemed like he could take the reins. Yeah, but Hamaguchi isn't even that much younger than them. I think they need a lot. I think they need some new fresh blood. You got to consider Nomura, Katase, Nojima. These guys were in like their late 20s in the late 90s. I hope some young blood developers in Square Enix can step up like that. Okay. Let's check this out, guys. Again, it might be something we've already seen, but let's see what we're in for.
When there is so much to tell, where else to start but the beginning? To fuel the sprawling city of Midgar, the Shinra Electric Power Company was draining the planet of its very essence, which it converted into Mako via its reactors. Our world was dying, and so few could hear her cries for mercy.
All right, in scanning it, it looks a little bit different, so I'll let it play.
Those who could rose to her defense, the anti-Shinra rebels, Avalanche. Among them was Cloud Strife, an elite soldier turned mercenary.
Dude, Red 13 makes a great narrator.
Who joined the group on their mission to destroy a Mako reactor. It was there that Cloud was introduced to Barrett, a leader of the resistance. Amidst the aftermath of Avalanche's first attack, Cloud met a flower seller named Aerith, and reconnected with his childhood friend Tifa.
Flower seller? Flower seller? I'm sorry to harp on that. Flower seller? He met a flower seller named Aerith? Am I just being a jackass, or was anyone else off-put by that choice of words? Like, not flower girl? Not local florist? Come on, I know we could have chose more eloquent. I'm being an asshole. I'm being such an asshole. I'm going to keep it going.
Thus was destiny set in motion.
Flower seller.
With one Mako reactor destroyed.
Yeah, no, Riku, this is the same. This is pretty much the same recap that came out 2 months ago, but there seems to be a few things different at the end.
Avalanche set their sights on another. Unfortunately, they were playing right into Shinra's hands. The company retaliated by destroying an entire district, killing thousands, and placing the blame on the rebels. Though dear friends were lost, there was no time to grieve. Shinra took Aerith prisoner.
florist would have been correct, but flower girl has prostitution implications. I don't know, dude. When I think of flower girl, I think of weddings. Maybe I'm crazy. I'm being such an ass. I'm being such an ass. Keep it
prisoner, determined to reach the coveted promised land.
What's up, Tarnished Potosai?
For she, as the last of the Cetra, was the only one who could guide them there. It was here that I, another Shinra captive, joined the rebels and assisted them in freeing Aerith. During our escape, we came face to face with a man thought dead, the fallen war hero Sephiroth, whose goal was to claim the planet as his own. Ahead of us lay destiny's crossroads. Stay and be chained to fate, or fight to break free. After a climactic battle with Sephiroth, Cloud brought his blade down upon his rival, cleaving the path forward. With the fight won and the shackles of destiny broken, we stood before the unknown, a world of boundless freedom. It was there, beyond where fate could follow, that a new journey began.
Awesome. Again, very similar to the one that came out a little while ago. I've got a few more things I wanted to touch on. Let me pull them up over here. Okay, check this out, guys. Here's a few more things. Come to us courtesy of Twitter, otherwise known as X. But here, let's blow this up so you guys can get a better look. Introducing the Synergy Ability Moogle Pinwheel, in which Yuffie and Kate Sith attack in tandem with a secret ninja technique. So there's a little peek at our Yuffie and Katoshi, as Hamaguchi would say. Team up attack. Let's move on to another one. This is about Advent Children coming to theaters, which we've already talked about that, so we can skip over this one I had pulled up. Here we go. Katoshi darts all about the battlefield, assailing enemies from every side. His abilities can hurt enemies or buff allies, but most rely on luck in some way. And he can switch things up by bringing out his Moogle pal. Let's check this out. Let's get a closer look at these pictures. Looking good, my man. Look at the homie. Look at the homie. Dude. This thing is so hideous and adorable at the same time. I don't know how they do it. It's like a fucking teddy bear in a horror movie. It's hideous and adorable all at once. I don't know how they do it. Next one. Yuffie excels at chaining her attacks together and switching their elemental affinity. So they are keeping that ability. Wow, she's going to be OP. Her doppelganger ability allows her to attack in tandem with her clone. Yo, like Lady Chiho style? Yeah, the puppets! Oh! Yo, Yuffie is going to be a beast. She's going to be a beast. Okay. Captain Titov, the captain of the Shinra 8. He's earned his sterling reputation among his crew. Thanks to his unerring devotion to his duties, this is most evident during the various festivities held about his vessel, which he personally and passionately MCs. Took me a second to actually figure that out. This guy MCs him? He don't look like a party animal, but I'll be happy to see him break out of his shell. Chiho reference, well done. Oh, yeah. I mean, she's a ninja. Gotta respect the ninjas. And then here we go. Shinra 8 is a cruise ship that ferries travelers between the planet's eastern and western continents. After departing the port of Junon, it heads for the resort town of Costa del Sol. As part of the onboard entertainment, the ship plays host to a Queen's Blood tournament. That's the card game. Let's go. I love it. I love it. Next. Check out the Turks' latest and greatest. Elena. Good. Her face model here looks different. Doesn't quite look like a copy and paste of Tifa anymore. Elena. I hope they keep her just as goofy as she was in the original. Because she was goofy, man. She was like just as goofy as rude. Moving on. Take a closer look at characters, regions, and newly revealed combat abilities. See here, like, I'm sorry. I hope they patch this. It looks too much like Tifa. It looks too much like Tifa. Like, here. Let's make it just, you know what I mean? Like, if you didn't know better, you might think that was Tifa. I would like to see them maybe patch that a little bit. Make her face look a little different. All right, next picture. Looking good. And again, we saw this one already, the Yuffie puppet, and we saw him kind of, that slide into second base move. Looking good. Looking good. All right. Oh boy, it's a little much. Ladies and gentlemen. Holy hell, it's Tifa, bro. I mean, yeah, it looks too much like her. But anyway, I think we're going to wrap up today's episode there. I don't have much else to talk about. We caught up on everything that we missed out on over the last week. Look, tomorrow there'll be a live stream in the late afternoon, early evening, unless things change. But Sunday, I'll let those of you who are either chilling with us now or who make it to the end of this podcast, watching it after the fact. BioRoxas will be stepping into the lodge on Sunday. Him and I will be doing a deep dive on Master Aqua and her future in the series. So you sickos and normies can be excited about that. Yeah, Lindsey Brown, you caught us right at the end. We're wrapping it up now. But it was another good episode. Very tame, very chill. Had a good time with the chat. Good vibes. But Sunday, BioRoxas is stepping into the lodge, talking about Kingdom Hearts, talking about Master Aqua. Going to be a good time. And then next week, we're going to talk about the future of gaming when it comes to physical and digital media. And then we'll hop right back into the Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts of it all. But anyway, we're going to wrap it up here. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. How are we doing on Twitch? Can we raid someone on Twitch? Let's see. Hey, Tony Kinetic, thank you for the follow. Let's raid Cynic. We're going to raid Cynic on Twitch, and we're going to wrap up today's episode there. Thank you again for hanging out, everybody. Another great episode in the books. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out. More Final Fantasy podcasts and videos on the way. We'll see you next